Why the f am I here? Got it. Ready. Hi, my name is Craig Mazin. I'm the co-creator, writer, and director of HBO and Sky's The Last of Us, and I'm here to talk games with BAFTA. First game I ever played was Combat on the Atari 2600. My dad brought it home when it came out in the late 70s, and I was so excited to move a square around and fire tinier squares at larger squares. My God, I have not played Combat since 1978. It's been a bit. Oh, it's really hard to say what my favorite game is because I've had some love affairs, some serious love affairs. I do have to say, maybe it's recency bias, but Baldur's Gate 3, just in terms of how much time I've put into it and continue to put into it, is really high up there. Obviously, The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us Part 2 are right there with it. And I think I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Grand Theft Auto 4, just because the story was so good. It's hard to beat Niko Bellic as an antagonist, protagonist, anti-hero, killer guy. I'm mostly trying to stay alive so that I'm here to play Grand Theft Auto 6. And I suspect, from what I've heard, that the game will be big enough to carry me through for about 2 more decades of life.
Who's your favorite companion from Baldur's Gate, by the way?
I generally roll out with Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and Gale, although in some of the runs, just for romantic purposes, Karlach is the best romance. It's the most wholesome romance. Almost never go with Halsin. No offense to bears. It's just not my thing.
A lot of people really love bears, apparently.
People physically love bears in Baldur's Gate 3. Right now, I am playing Assassin's Creed Shadows because if I have a chance to be a samurai, I take that opportunity. I mostly play as Naue because I generally prefer a stealth approach to things. Whenever I get a chance, I sneak. It's just my nature. I have played probably 80% of the 4,090 Assassin's Creed games.
That's respectful.
It's a solid number. When it comes to just the amount of hours put into something, I would say Skyrim probably takes the cake for most hours put in. When I have a choice between main quests or side quests, I like to do enough main quests to get myself properly leveled. Then I go side questing for a long time. You have to savor the main quest. If you finish it too early, then the rest of the game feels a bit like, as you would say here, faffing about. It is so funny to me how people will say, listen, in the game, we absolutely must get to this place or the world will be destroyed. And I'm like, totally. However, I need to go collect some things pointlessly for achievements. And they wait.
What is your favorite narrative in a game?
Well, Baldur's Gate 3 has an incredible narrative because of its complexity. But in terms of just good old-fashioned straight-ahead narrative, The Last of Us, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 2 in particular, the narrative there is so beautiful and interwoven, and it's large. I don't think anybody's quite gotten to that level of beauty, but they're getting better. Games are getting really, really good. Every great game, especially when it comes to narrative, inspires the ones that come after it to get better and better still.
Do you have a favorite character from a game?
Well, I'm rather partial to Ellie. No big surprise there. I do love Astarion from Baldur's Gate. I tend to play sneaky, as I said before, so a lot of times I don't roll out with Astarion, but his characterization is amazing. I'm a huge fan of Bethesda games, but you're not really a person in those games, so I like playing those, but I never quite get a sense of a great character. Definitely Niko Bellic from Grand Theft Auto 4, and the square from Combat. that horrible little square. I played Adventure on Atari, and the dragons look like sort of blocky ducks. Always enjoyed the blocky duck.
Blocky Duck coming soon to HBO, maybe.
It's possible that we might hit 4 seasons of Blocky Duck. The way things are going in our business, somebody is going to be adapting Blocky Duck very shortly.
Do you have a favorite mechanic from a game? For example, mine, I really love the active reload from Gears of War.
Oh, yeah. Man, I forgot about Gears of War. Put a whole lot of time into that. Being able to shoot someone and then chainsaw them with the same gun is pretty incredible. But mechanics-wise, I'm a big fan of the Arkham games and the grapnel. There's something so satisfying about grapneling around. Huge grapnel fan. Wish I owned a grapnel. Probably illegal. Any game that makes you truly, Spider-Man game is great. You do feel like you're web slinging, but the Arkham games, I mean, it feels so good. The flow of combat in those. Any game where I can just press square and keep killing people, huge win.
Batman doesn't kill.
I mean, sorry, not kill. Any game where I can press square and cause serious brain injury to people. I like that Batman thinks he's better than us because he doesn't kill people. The hospitals in Gotham are full of traumatized people. My favorite moment from a game is probably don't tell me I'd be better off with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared. That moment where Ellie reveals herself to Joel and does so in such a vulnerable way and explains to him why he matters to her. Games just hadn't done things like that before. Not like that, not as beautifully as that. And it's one of those moments where I remember saying to Neil Druckmann, hey, we're adapting, we're gonna change, we're gonna alter, we're gonna expand, but there are some things we do exactly the same, and that was one of them. I played The Last of Us when it came out on PlayStation 3 in 2013. I actually didn't own a PlayStation back then. I was more of an Xbox guy. And a friend of mine, Chris Morgan, who makes all the Fast and Furious movies, so I trust him when it comes to these things, he was like, dude, you have to play The Last of Us. And I thought, zombies, I don't know. And he was like, trust me. And I was like, I guess I'm getting a PlayStation. So I bought a PlayStation just to play The Last of Us. I think it was probably a good decision. If I wanted to see a video gameized version of a film or a television show, I think it would be Breaking Bad. But I would want the game mostly to be about lying to your wife and friends. So it's not a lot of action. It's mostly just Skylar starting to figure it out, and you just have to keep lying to her and Hank. Yeah, there's a meter that shows how much meth you've made that day, and also how paranoid you are and how close other people are to figuring out the truth about who you are. I mean, I would play that game. So there is a lot of controversy about whether or not you should invert controllers, unless you're me, in which case there's no controversy, there's simplicity and truth. Yes, you invert the y-axis. Never invert the x-axis, but always invert the y-axis. Neil and I disagree about this, but the first thing I do when I get a game is hurdle myself into the control settings and invert that y-axis, because just like look, it's like you're moving your head, right? I'm going to push my head forward and look down. I'm going to pull my head back and look up. Obvious, right? Apparently not for some people.
I play with inverted controllers, and I think anyone who doesn't is wrong and weird. It makes sense to me, right? Because the thumbstick is like your neck, so you point it forward to look down and you pull it back to look up. So that's the logic.
So Charlie Brooker, who's an amazing writer and creator of Black Mirror, which is an incredible show, he understands that you should invert the y-axis. That's what geniuses do.
I'm not a genius, that's why.
Yeah. Fool. Try it. It's amazing. Video games give you a chance to experience a story, a world, in a pure way. There's no disconnect from you and what's happening around you. You get to move through it. You get to decide in many ways how it all works. You get to decide if you fail or succeed. There's also this lovely aspect of combining problem solving with storytelling. So you need to solve puzzles, problems, even if it's just figuring out how to get through 20 NPCs to go from A to B. You need to do that in order to get more story. I love that aspect of gaming. I'm doing an honor run right now of Baldur's Gate 3, and I think I'm about to die. And that's on me, isn't it? It's my fault, and I kind of love the stakes of that.